Folks, if there's one thing that people are looking for in this broken world of ours when it relates to church, is authenticity. They're sick of the plastic. They're sick of the artificial. They're sick of the big show. They're looking for whatever is real. That does not mean for a moment that it doesn't appear and exist in a lot of different venues. It does mean that people want what's genuine and real and honest, and something that occupies the heart and mind and the soul and strength of people. We had a wonderful time in Mexico. It's not an easy time. And we who are human beings go with our own human stuff. We had to deal with some stuff in our own group. And we run into their stuff. We had to deal with some stuff in their group too. But somehow or the other, there's a gestalt reality to all of this, which is simply this, that what happens is more than the sum of its parts. You go and you do something like a worship service, or you go and do something like spend 8 or 9 days in a small pueblo in a foreign country, and believe me, God somehow is present to bless, to make a difference. We were walking through the market on Tuesday. There's a market called Osumba, and they have all kinds of things there. It's really an interesting and intriguing reality, you know. Sometimes you'll walk by a whole cow who has lost himself anyway and is hanging up there waiting for the next purchaser. And they have lots of vendors with small things, and so I saw a watch there, and I just really liked it. I have a little hobby. I collect inexpensive watches. I have 6 or 7. Anthony says more, but I know that's not true. $25 or less watches, and I saw this Nike watch. It had the Nike symbol and everything, and it was very different and very strange. And I said, man, that would be nice in my collection. And then I said, nah, I don't need to do that. Got more than enough. The alarms go off all the time and drive Pat crazy anyway, and so won't do that. Well, when it came time for the team to sort of do its summary of the week, they said, we have a little gift for Keith. And they got me up front, and they took this little watch, which has got an airplane over the face of it, and you have to pull the thing up, and it's got little teeny letters. You have to have a magnifying glass to see the time, you know? And I thought to myself, this is sweet, but it's not my Nike. That's not very Christian, is it? And they said, now here's the real gift. My Nike. And I thought, oh, man, I've got it made. I've got me a Nike. And so I was looking at it. The numbers run this way across all the time. You can see it on the way out if you want to. And I thought I was really big time until I read the label, A-N-I-K-E. It's a cheap replacement, but it is a Nike. The gift is offered, and all I had to do was reach out and get it. Reaching is important. Reaching is essential. Reaching is a part of what it means for you and I to be men and women of faith. Last Sunday, right before we left, we were getting ready to do the benediction, the way we take hands and all, and so I'd gone over, and Melody Boyd was right there. And I'd taken Melody's hand, and then Melody was kind of turning because the persons behind her were trying to get her name too. Her hand, too. And so she reached back, and she got that hand. And then there we were, making willful contact with one another, trying to include each other in that moment of reaching. That is holy, and that is good. When I got to Talamak, the little girl who is now 8, that was only about 3 when we built that house on the hill for them. You remember that little house? They were living in that, on the dirt in that ground. Some of the guys were talking about digging the lice out of the ground where they slept. Anyway, that little girl was waiting at the gate with a little arm stretched out. Oh, pastor. Oh, pastor. You know, wow. Reaching is essential to the understanding of faith. And I'm going to insult you with my simplicity because I'm simple. But you need to reach, first of all, back. There's some folks here that have held on to past pains, past hurts, past wounds, past experiences with such a tenacious hold that it keeps you from developing in the place where you are now. Forgetting those things which are behind, Paul said. And it's not just because Paul said it, it's because it's the only thing that makes a cotton-picking bit of sense. Keep on holding on to all the stuff that you can no longer control, that's happened in your past, and you won't be able to develop towards some kind of meaningful future. Not to say that you don't address it, not to say that you don't deal with it, not to say that it has not hurt you, but to say there is something bigger than what has already come to pass. Reach back and let the past stay past so that it no longer dominates the moment of your presence. Then the other thing we need to do is to reach up. That's always been a symbol of reaching toward God. You put it in your own language, in your own way. We know very good and well that in this particular house of faith, we're not all in the same place. We know that we're walking the walk as best we understand it and seeking the reality of God in ways that speak to us, but we do need to make a point of reaching up, make ourselves available, for example, to worship. Some people say, I don't get anything out of it. Well, we get something out of you coming. And maybe if you stop to think about it, maybe the gift of yourself might start giving back to you. And then sometimes maybe you'll be abundantly blessed. How could you hear Dorothy sing in the choir sing and not be abundantly blessed? Incidentally, I've been pushing a book lately. I have nothing to do with it. I don't know where you can buy it. I don't know even the price of it. I got it from the library. It's available. It's called The Electric Universe. And you know what it says? It says every single thing that you know and depend on is fully dependent on an unseen reality written by a physicist. And that reality is electricity. If it were not for the electric universe, the DNA that holds together the structure of our physical bodies, though the scripture says wonderfully and fearfully made, held together by electric impulse. The oceans would stand straight up if it were not for electricity. It's an interesting book. It also gives you the insight, some interesting insight, not always pleasant, but real, into the lives of some of the great inventors along the way. Not only the electron, but the wave movements of electricity, etc. And it doesn't bother us for a moment to flip on a switch and see the lights come on and think we understand everything about that when we don't understand doodly squat. All I know is how to turn the switch on or off and whether the lights go on. You want to hear one quick Talamic story? We went down for the party on Thursday night where we have 2 piñatas for the children. And everybody comes out to get the candy out of the piñatas, and there was no electricity at the church. Trucks were in the street with the lights going on. And we thought, oh, Lord, I wonder if that's an ambulance. And so when we got there, Harold, bless his heart, I wish he were here to defend himself, went straight up to these people and said in English, what's going on? There's no lights in the church, and we're supposed to have a party. And the man said to him back in English, the church is bootlegging the electricity. There's no meter, so we took the line down. And what they did was they went all down the street taking all these lines down, you know. And so we arranged with the next door neighbor. We said, could we plug into your power for just long enough to have the party for the children? And they said, no. And we said, what about for 100 pesos? That's $10. They said, yes. So we had lights next door. Interesting. That one little plug, you know what it was? You know the ceramic plugs with one light, pull chain? What they did was they strictly put up another one, screwed another one in there, and put the 2 wires on the side, and the whole church was lighted for the fiesta. Magic. Electricity. Unseen reality. Let me tell you one thing I remembered about that book. For one 60-watt light bulb to be lighted, it takes 6 quadrillion electrons. You know what that is? 6 with 18 zeros. 6 quadrillion. And we take it for granted. And we say, oh, I believe in electricity, but that's all there is to it. There's nothing more. And certainly not God. Well, maybe the unseen is the only thing that really is real. And all the rest comes after. So, reach up. And reach means to strain. Notice in this it says straining toward. To reach means to move from one place to the other. You can't reach back to the person in the pew behind you. You can't reach forward to do something that you've never done before. You can't reach back to finally forgive a hurtful past without some kind of a movement. Then you need to reach out too. Now, mission is not just what we do in Mexico. We go and we come back all full of that. But mission is what we do every single day, that we do anything in the name of God and in the Spirit of Christ. And our church is very active in lots of missions. This morning it was interesting to hear our lay minister of the morning, Jane Street, talking about what it meant for her to be a book buddy at that school over there. She said, I went over there to meet this little girl and to give my expertise in reading to her, and what she's done is bless me in a way I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you the fulfillment, joy of it. The Monday morning thing where it's actually become family. The Monday morning thing where they've actually become a part of us. No more longer them and us, but us together, which is what God always had in mind about the way his children should live with one another. So let's really try to reach out and bring other people in. Let's try to reach out, and if people are unkind about who we invite, let them deal with their stuff. Let us be the men and women of the gracious invitation. Let us be the people when the bienvenidos means something. You are welcome here. Not only that, but reach out to serve and reach out to help and reach out to do what you can. It might be something very simple, or it might be something very beautiful. The little man that I mentioned a minute, all he wanted was a pair of pants. That's all he wanted. And all she wanted was, well, she didn't even deserve one dress. God help us. Reach out. And then certainly reach in. What's inside you? What's inside me? What's in your heart? The little preacher down there, his name is Yusel, Levi, Felipe, Gondrat, Margilio, Gonzalez, Ramiz, and several other names that I can't remember. And he's an amazingly mature man. He just turned 20. Appeared in the pulpit. I felt really bad because I had to do communion for them, and I baptized two people, an 18-month-old child and a 15-year-old girl. That's Keith Ferguson's adopted daughter down there, Jessica. And because he wasn't ordained, he couldn't do that. But all I had was a pair of dirty old pants and a dirty shirt. And I had taken a tie from out of the closet, the giveaway closet, and used it. It was real bright and loud, and I used it so I could identify my luggage. And they said, you have to have a tie. So I got that one. It worked pretty good, too. Went through all this kind of stuff down there, you know. But the little preacher came in. He had on a perfect black suit, had a perfect black tie. He's got a disgustingly perfect physique, you know. He just looks good, you know. And I just look dirty and old. But anyway, we're all there. And we're doing it. And he said, tonight, esta noche, tiene un regalo para ustedes. Tonight I have a gift for you. And so we go there. You know what it is? He has reassembled his rock band. He was in this big rock band for years when the Lord called him, and he began the concert. I have the CD if any of you want to hear it. You won't feel the vibrations quite the way we did. The back wall began to crack. No, the wall... Anyway, but it was, and you could tell it was coming from the heart. But you know what? When that turkey got up there to start singing, I saw what his real passion for existence was. You know, man, he was into it, and he was good, too. Two other band members, and they were equally there. So when it was all over, I said to him, he said, what did you think? I said, it was good. It was different. It was strong. He said, you mean loud? I said, yeah, that too. It was very loud. And he said, what have you to say to me? And I said to him, in my broken Spanish, I said to him, I think your heart is with Jesus, but your passion of heart is in music. Because all you got to do is look at you. And that's what reaching is, see. Reaching is going behind the unreal facade to the heart of things. Now, the glory of Yusel is that he was able to translate his passion for music into his response to God and to become a minister. And each one of us minister in our own ways. That's very important, and we need to do it. Reach out to see what's in, and look in to see what you've got to give out. Where is your heart really? Where are your passions truly? What really matters to you? There's so many things that you could say, but let me just tell you that as we leave, we had to deal with a lot of stuff because cultures differ and people have different ideas. And so this year what we did was, instead of leaving all the clothes and things that we send, we gave little bags, the Wellsfest bags. We had the same exact thing in each one. And we gave each one of the people who worked all week long 500 pesos, which is $50, which is considered big money for a week's work, 8 days, big money. And So they all had a chance to come up and say to us a few things about themselves. And so what they would come up and say is my name is Irmana, and then go ahead and say her name. And my husband's name is, and I have 3 children and all. And I want to tell you how much you have blessed us by coming all these long years. Others come, but they never come back. But you come back. And sweet things like that. And then Anthony was second to last, and his little lady came right before mine. And the little lady got up there, and they said, what is your name? And she gave us a name. And they said, and to whom are you married? And she said, I was married, until they shot him dead. And that was the wife of the boy at the little house that this church built on the hill in Tillamook, the elder brother. And she began to cry, and we began to cry too. We were all just weeping away. And she said, I don't know what we would have done if it hadn't been first for God, and second for this church, and third for you. Thank you. If that doesn't reach the deepest center of someone's heart, what could? And that is one true story that could be added to 1,000, to 1,000,000, probably to multiple millions. But you know what's beautiful? You and I have the opportunity exactly to do what instinctively happened to us right here. Incidentally, my watch just right. Here's the message from Mexico. Shut up. What Melanie did almost instinctively, someone reaching toward her was met by her reach back, out, up, in, all. Reach. Come on. Let's do it. Amen. Let's pray.